your voices are the ones that are going to make the difference in how we legislate, as well as how the mayor administrates here in the city of East Cleveland. Fear has been one of the main focuses of this particular administration. You were told a bill of goods on a number of occasions. I really don't want to reiterate over and over what my colleagues have so eloquently said this evening. Some have been more loud with their presentations, more emotional, but their hearts are in the right place. The passion is there. We have not been given the appropriate information, we being the members in the community. You have not been shown the real true depth of what should really transpire here in the city of East Cleveland. We are in fact facing an $8 million deficit. For the past 3 years, members of council have expressed to you all in one way or another, some more louder than others, but we still managed to get the voices out to you, and that was that we were spending in excess of what we were bringing into the city. And so what you see today, the first year of Mayor Norton, is a $1.3 million deficit. The second year of Mayor Norton's administration, the deficit grew from $1.3 million to now a hefty $5.7 million. And now in his third tenure as mayor of the city of East Cleveland, we are facing no less than an $8 million deficit. You didn't believe council, but it now takes an auditor, Dave Youst, our auditor of state here in the city of, well, for the state of Ohio, to come in East Cleveland and tell you what we as members of council have tried to say to you. You can't spend what you don't have. And now we are now being placed in fiscal emergency. Once again, after a number of years, we were not in this position, but now we are. And it only took us 3 years. This did not take place under Mayor Brewer's administration. This did not take place again in Mayor Brewer's administration. This designation took place under this administration. We've lost a great deal. We lost the revenue we would have received from Huron Hospital had we not stayed on our course to keep that hospital. That would have been money generated into our city. We lost that. Now we can fight a good fight on the post office, but we know across the country, post offices are downsized. But this council was the one that put forth that initiative to try to save our post office. My colleagues, when you look at HUD, now there's been some talk about the prior administration's debt with HUD totaling over $500,000. But under this administration, under these 3 years, this administrator, this mayor's cabinet, this community development director has cost this city over $500,000. We have the information. This isn't something that we're saying. Do we need the auditor to come in, or do we need the people from HUD, George L. Lawson, the others to come in and tell us? They presented it to us. It's in writing. This mismanagement of this particular mayor has cost this city greatly. And time has come where we have to do something about it. We have taken this to the courts. We have a writ of mandamus requesting a number of documents to be provided and to be paid for. Not only is it that council has not been adequately given its due, but you have other vendors. You have a young lady that was homegrown, a Shaw High School graduate by the name of Faith Dickinson, who this summer created a summer youth program, that's been in existence long before this summer. Davis Challenge. Do you realize that this young lady is entitled to $15,000? I have an email today on my phone. She says, Dr. Jordan, is it possible the copier, the people from our Xerox is now asking for payment my rent is due for my business here in East Cleveland. The mayor has refused to pay that purchase requisition.
He said he wasn't
You're
going
not
to.
harming us.
He
You're
said he
harming
wasn't
the
going to.
residents. You're harming a business person,
He said he
someone
wouldn't.
who has value and merit, who has history in East Cleveland, and who has a business servicing our young people. And you, as members of our community, realize council has given money to Shaw High School. We've given money to University Circle for young people. And now here we are this year spreading our wings and now going local and offering some support to a local businesswoman who's doing something important for our youngsters, and yet she has not been paid. You have a videographer with the Calling Post also. That's his other business. He has not been paid. We have our attorneys. Our attorneys were not paid.
You're not going to pay
But
him.
his attorney was paid after we had already hired our attorney to represent us on this writ of mandamus, which has gone before a mediator and is up for discussion now and is being mediated as we speak with guidelines that these items would be met. And so the $56,000 that you see that we are actually included in our budget is not additional expenditures, but merely money that we budgeted that had not, and those individuals had not been paid as of yet. I can go on and on, but let me say this to you. The mayor did have a plan. You recall earlier this year during our budget hearings, he presented the MLK be taken over by the Boys and Girls Club. He had community development being given to the county. He had Forest Hills Park being given to the Metro Parks. That's how he wants to administer his duties as a mayor, by giving away further the valuable resources that make up the city of East Cleveland. But no time in his plan did he mention what plan he had for this police department. He knew that we had a $1.2 million deficit, not just this year. We had a deficit the previous year with the police department. And the previous year we had a deficit. And so there were no attempts to reduce the deficit, reduce our budget. There was no discussion on Helen S. Brown, but yet out of his 3 finance directors, the first one that he started his tenure with said that we have to and should consider no longer dissolving Helen S. Brown because it's not fiscally a sound investment at this particular time. It's not a fiscally sound investment. We are losing money. We thought we were losing $300,000, but we later found a new account, a new fund, a new line item was presented in the budget where dollars have now been transferred, so the debt is no longer $300,000+, but now it's $800,000. So your Helen S. Brown, your senior services that we value, that we want, the monies are not there anymore. And so you have a man who served in the capacity over Helen S. Brown, who now is in dual positions at MLK and at Helen S. Brown, but still, what was touted that there were going to be a number of revenue-generating projects where we were going to get money to sustain Helen S. Brown, that never appeared. Outside a grant that allowed us to get vans, which was needed, but not enough to really sustain that facility. So what do we have now? We have what we have. We have an $8 million deficit. We're in fiscal emergency, and this council is not planning to do anything different. We're not going to do anything less. What you see is our proposal. We're holding steadfast clearly on the position a year ago, when we said $14 million was our budget, and the mayor exceeded that and got a certificate of resource for $17 million down at the auditor's office at the county. And then we later found that the money he thought to justify raising this to $17 million was this $2 million he found, $3 million that he found, and then later found it wasn't money that he found. There was money in an account that was earmarked for a number of items that could not be touched, and so now we're back to the $14 million that we had originally. But council has been financially responsible in its decisions all along. We were there when the mayor put on the safety garb and said that he was going to be a safety patrol because we attempted to reduce expenditures a year ago. And